Namaskar. Today we will discuss about the quality of groundwater. Quality of groundwater as important as quantity of the groundwater. Suppose we have huge quantity of groundwater, but it is of no use due to its bad quality, or water is unsuitable for our use, then the huge quantity is of no use for us. Quality of the water depends upon the different purposes. Quality of groundwater for drinking purpose, quality of groundwater for irrigation purpose, quality of groundwater for industrial purposes. And in groundwater, more soluble salts are added than the surface water. If you see, groundwater dissolved solids and surface water dissolved solids, you will find that there are less dissolved solids found in the surface water than the groundwater. So, today the following modules are highlighted in this lecture. Number 1, sources of salinity. Second, collection of groundwater sample. Third, measures of water quality. Fourth, water quality criteria for drinking purposes. Fifth, water quality criteria for irrigation purposes. And sixth, water quality criteria for industrial purposes. Sources of salinity. Salinity means the total dissolved solids present in the groundwater. In groundwater, the concentration of total dissolved solids come from the geologic formation through which groundwater moves. Because groundwater is in contact for long time in the strata, so all the dissolved solids present in the geological formations come in the groundwater. So, it contains more total dissolved solids than the surface water. We have find that the total dissolved solids ranges from 25 milligram per liter to in fresh water to over 3 lakhs mg per liter in brine water. So, concentration of salts depends upon the movement of groundwater, how much time water is in contact with the geological strata. Bicarbonate is a predominant anion of the water found near the ground surface, but at the deepest formation you will get chloride is the dominant ion. So, generally you can say that bicarbonate is a predominant ion of fresh water, groundwater, and chloride is the dominant ion of sea water. When water moves through the igneous rock or metamorphic rock, I have told you that these rocks are hard rock. So, less soluble salts are present in the igneous rock, in metamorphic rocks. So, the addition of salts from these rocks is less than the sedimentary rocks. So, generally the silicate minerals are there. So, they will add the calcium, magnesium, whatever the chemical composition of the rock formation. According to that, the concentration of the constituents becomes more in the groundwater, and silica is added from the igneous rocks. In sedimentary rocks, because these are soluble rocks and sedimentary rocks consist of sand, gravel, clay, silts. So, here these rocks are soft rock and more soluble salts are added in the groundwater from these rocks. The chloride is deposited in the coastal areas, concerned deposition of the chloride, and it is estimated that the chloride deposition or precipitation at the coastal area is 4 to 20 kilogram per hectare, and the concentration of chloride decreases towards the inland. And there is a Israel scientist had given a equation relationship that n equal to 110 E minus 0.0133 into D, where N is the chloride concentration in kilogram per hectare and E is the exponential which is decreases with the distance from the sea, and D is the distance in kilometer. So, here the concentration of salts depends upon the climate also, they depends upon the permeability of the formation, drainage conditions of the formation and leaching. So, in for example, in arid climate the high salinity are there because the rainfall is less. So, no leaching took place. So, climate is also very important in the determination of the concentration of the salt. So, this is about the sources of salinity in groundwater or sources of salts derived in groundwater from the geological strata. Second is the collection of the groundwater sample, because for the determination of the quality of the water, water should be collected from the sources of groundwater, from the dug wells, from the tube wells, from the bore wells. So, how the water samples are collected? Water samples are collected with the help of the water sampler. A water sampler is there in which a bottle is fitted there. We immersed the water sampler in the water and we immerse for some time. Water is filled, then after some time we will remove this water samples and we will collect this water in a plastic bottle or glass bottles. Before collection of this groundwater sample, we should rinse this water with this groundwater which will be sampled, so that no error took place in the parameters which are determined in the laboratory. Bottle is sealed with the wax, so that if gases are present, because some gases are also present in the water, they will not escape, and sometime some preservative is added, so that there will be no change in the constituents in the of the groundwater. A record of the sample is very important. So, on each sample, date of collection of the water sample is the important. Then we will keep the location of the well from where the groundwater sample is collected, type of well, it is a dug well, tube well or bore well, what is the depth of the water table or water level there, and what is the total depth of the well. So, the type of well means it is a domestic purpose well is used, or for irrigation purpose, for industrial purpose it is used, and it is energized by diesel pump or electric pump is there, or by other means are there, we will note these things. So, and we will get the sample number there, groundwater sample number 1, 2, 3 like this we will. So, this is the about the collection of the groundwater samples. After the groundwater samples are collected, they are transferred to the laboratories, and it is better to analyze the samples immediately. We will get a, so that results will not erroneous. Measures of the water quality. What are the measurement we will take to determine the quality of the water? So, for the measurement of the quality of the water, there are 4 types of measurements, generally 3 types, but another is also there. Number 1 is chemical analysis, second is physical analysis, and third is biological analysis, and fourth is radiologic analysis. But because sometimes due to the human activities groundwater is quality is deteriorated, or we can say groundwater is polluted, then radiological study is also important, analysis is also important. So, most important is the chemical analysis of the water. So, I will tell you first the chemical analysis of the water. In chemical analysis, the constituents present in the groundwater. What are the constituents present in the groundwater? If you see the table there, it is given here different constituents. So, there are 3 types of constituents present in groundwater: major constituents, minor constituents and trace constituents. Major constituents generally greater than 5 milligram per liter, minor 0.01 to 10 milligram per liter, and trace constituents are less than 1 milligram per liter in the water, they are present. So, you can see the list, these constituents are given in the list, major cations, anions there, constituents are trace constituents are there. So, these are the constituents present in the water. Now, how they are represented? Expression of the results of the chemical analysis is very important. It means this is the unit of concentration, in which unit we will represent the results, chemical analysis results. So, the concentration is reported in the unit that is known as molality. So, molality means number of moles of solute present in 1 kilogram mass of solution. So, unit is moles per kilogram. This is known as molality, and moles means equivalent to 1 molecular part of the element. So, this is moles. Second is the molarity. Molarity means number of moles of solute dissolved in 1 cubic meter of water. So, moles per cubic meter of water, this is the molarity. We can also call them at milli-mole per liter, millimole per liter, this is the unit for the representation of the molarity. Another unit is the mass concentration, means kilogram per cubic meter or gram per cubic meter or milligram per liter. So, they are reported as milligram per liter in the mass concentration. The next unit is the equivalent per liter. Equivalent per liter equal to moles of solute into balance of solute upon liter of solution. This is equivalent per million EPL, and there is equivalent per million EPM also. So, EPM equal to moles of solute into balance of solute divided by 10 to the power 6 gram of solution. Similarly, parts per million, ppm equal to gram of solute into 10 to the power 6 gram of solution. So, this is parts per million. So, parts per million is equivalent to 1 milligram per liter. So, actually parts per million or milligram 1 liter, milligram per liter is the expression by weight, and EPM equivalent per million or milli equivalent per million is the chemical equivalence. This is a representation by the chemical equivalence, because when cations and anions are dissociated, one exact part of anion will combine with the one exact part of the cation. So, here equivalent per million we can convert milligram per liter or ppm from the. So, conversion of ppm into EPM, there is a formula that equivalent per million equal to EPM equal to ppm of ion divided by its equivalent weight, and equivalent weight can be determined by the atomic weight divided by valency, you will get. So, this is the expression of the results of the chemical analysis. So, 2 by weight or by chemical equivalence we report the chemical analysis of the results. Now, methods of chemical analysis. What are the methods which are used? We should use the important standard methods. So, standard methods are given by the American Public Health Association. In 2005 latest book is there. So, this is very important book. All the methods of determination of all the constituents are given in this book. So, these are the standard method which is used. So, generally for the determination of the calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium, flame photometer is used. For the determination of the bicarbonate, carbonate, chloride, volumetric analysis is done, and for the determination of the nitrate, colorimeter is used. For the determination of the sulphate, gravimetric analysis is done. For the determination of the trace element, spectrophotometer is used. So, these are the different instruments by which we can use all the chemical parameters. Now, I will tell you about the parameters which are determined under chemical analysis. So, in chemical analysis, we determine the organic and inorganic constituents. In addition to these constituents, we determine the parameters just like pH, hydrogen ion concentration, EH, oxidation reduction potential. We determine the electrical conductivity or specific electrical conductance. We determine the total dissolved solids TDS, and we determine the hardness. So, these parameters are reported under the chemical analysis, though they like just like a physical parameter, but they are reported under the chemical analysis. So, first parameter is pH, which is important. pH determined by the pH meter. So, what is the pH? We will define the pH. pH is a measure of activity or hydrogen ion concentration present in the water. So, this is measured by the ion product of water. So, if water is there H2O, when it dissociate in its ion, so H2O equal to H positive plus OH negative, positive charge H, negative charge ion OH. So, the ion product is generally constant. So, when you multiply H into OH, this equal to Kw. Kw is the ion product of the water, and generally this ion product of water is constant at the temperature and on pressure. So, at 20 degree centigrade, H equal to under root 10 to the power minus 14. So, H equal to 10 to the power minus 7. So, hydrogen ion concentration pH value is defined as the hydrogen ion concentration, which is a negative logarithm of the H positive, H ion, positive ion of H. So, pH equal to minus log H, and this H equal to 10 to the power minus 7. So, pH equal to 7. So, this is a hydrogen ion concentration, power of hydrogen concentration 10 to the power minus 7. So, it will come to the 7. So, according to pH, water is classified. If pH is less than 5, it is strongly acid. 5 to 7, it is acid. Only 7, it is neutral water. If it is 7 to 9, it is alkaline, and if more than 9, it is strongly alkaline. So, according to the pH, this classification of the water is done, and generally for drinking purpose, the pH must be 6.5 to 8.5. So, this is about the pH, hydrogen ion concentration. Second parameter is the EH, that is known as oxidation reduction potential. Oxidation reduction potential is related to the pH, and it play an important role in establishing the state and migration of elements found in the solution. So, there is a formula by which we can determine the EH. So, EH equal to E0 plus 0.581 upon N into log OX upon rad, where EH is redox potential, E0 is the standard redox potential, N is the amount of electrons, OX is the oxidized form concentration, and rad is the reduced form concentration. So, EH is expressed or measured in volts or millivolts. So, it is also a very important parameter, just like the pH, which is determined. Second is the electrical conductivity. Electrical conductivity is also known as specific electrical conductance. So, specific electrical conductance is nothing but it is a conductance of one cubic centimeter water. So, if it is related to the temperature, if temperature increases 1 degree centigrade, the electrical conductivity or specific electrical conductance will increase 2%. So, the electrical conductivity is represented as 25 degree centigrade. This is the standard temperature for the representation of the electrical conductivity. So, the unit of electrical conductivity is the micromoles per centimeter or microsiemens per centimeter. By determining the EC or a specific electrical conductance, indirectly we determine the total dissolved solids. There is a relationship. Electrical conductivity is directly proportional to the total dissolved solids. So, if you measure the electrical conductivity, you can measure the TDS by the formula TDS in mg per liter equal to 0.64 into electrical conductivity. So, this is important, means we determine the electrical conductivity, indirectly we are determining the total dissolved solids, and indirectly we are determining the salinity of the water. So, there is an instrument by which conductivity is determined, known as conductivity meter. So, conductivity meter, for example, 1 milligram per liter equal to 1.56 microsiemens per centimeter. This is the relationship between the unit of the results of the chemical analysis and the electrical conductivity. Next thing is the hardness. Hardness is present due to the presence of divalent metallic ions in the water, that is the calcium and magnesium. So, in the what will happen in the water, CO2 is generated due to the bacterial activity of the soil, and this in the water, this is bicarbonate concentration becomes more. So, water becomes hard. So, there are two types of water, hard water and soft water. If you will clean your clothes with the hard water, they will not clean. If soft water is used, clothes will be cleaned very good. So, this is why this hard water is found. Hard water, when this groundwater percolates, you see that in limestone area generally you will get the hard water. If there is a thick top soil is there, overlain, thick top soil overlain limestone, hard groundwater you will find there. So, for determination of the total hardness represented by letter Ht as a calcium carbonate equal to Ht equal to Ca into CaCO3 upon Ca plus Mg into CaCa3 upon Mg, where all concentrations are reported in milligram per liter. If they are represented in the EPM, the formula is Ht equal to 2.5 Ca plus 4.1 Mg. Here concentration reported in EPM, equivalents per million. So, this is about the hardness of the water. Now, according to the hardness, water is classified. This water is classified into 4 categories, and hardness is also expressed in milligram per liter. So, if hardness is 0 to 75, it is soft water, 75 to 150 moderately hard, and 150 to 300 hard and then very hard. If greater than 300 milligram per liter hardness is there, it is very hard water. Similarly, on the basis of TDS, groundwater is divided into 4 categories: fresh water having TDS 0 to 1000 milligram per liter, brackish water 1000 to 10,000 milligram per liter, saline water 10,000 to 1 lakh milligram per liter, and brine water more than 1 lakh milligram per liter. It is a brine water. So, groundwater is classified on the basis of TDS, groundwater is classified on the basis of hardness also. So, if you plot electrical conductivity data and TDS, you will get a linear relationship. It means electrical conductivity increases, total dissolved solids also increases. So, this is about the parameters which are determined under the chemical analysis. Now, after the chemical analysis, how we will display it, because we want to prepare our thesis, reports or dissertation in which we will incorporate our results of the chemical analysis. So, what are the methods? So, there is a representation of the results of the chemical analysis. Now, for representation of the results of the chemical analysis, there are certain diagrams by which we can represent them. These diagrams are bar diagram or bar graph. First bar graph diagram, second is the vector diagram, third is circular diagram or pie diagram, fourth is step pattern diagram, sixth is scalar semi-logarithmic diagram, then trilinear Piper diagram, Durob and Japoruzek diagram, then scatter diagram, then water quality maps. So, these are the diagrams by which the results of the chemical analysis are represented. So, first we will start from the bar diagram. Bar diagram are plotted on the ordinary graph paper. On the x axis sample number is given, on the y axis total concentration is given in the EPM unit. So, for one sample is divided into cations and anions, because if you see the analysis, total cations equal to the total anions in the. So, TDS is the cations plus anions, they will be equal, but you will find that they are never practically equal. So, you can manipulate them slightly, so that they will give you the equal value and you can plot the bar diagram. So, this is given in the text there, you can see this diagram how it is prepared. Next diagram is the vector diagram. This vector diagram is plotted. Here you see the diagram given there. Sodium chloride is plotted, magnesium sulphate is plotted and calcium bicarbonate is plotted. So, the concentration there we measure propose a scale according to their concentration in EPM. Suppose 1 centimeter equal to 1 EPM, we can plot this according to this scale all the concentration and prepare the vector diagram. So, for preparation of the vector diagram, location of sampling station must be done. Location map of sampling station, on that location these diagrams are drawn. So, this is about the vector diagram. Third diagram is the circular diagram. In circular diagram, a scale is total dissolved solids are represented by the radius of a circle. We will measure is 1 centimeter equal to 1 EPM, total concentration cations plus anions. So, and then we will divide it into two parts, northern and southern. Northern part of the circle is the cations, calcium, magnesium, sodium and potassium, and southern part is represented by the anion, bicarbonate plus carbonate, chloride and sulphate. So, this completes the part first of the quality of the groundwater. In this first part, we have studied that how the salts concentration increases in the groundwater. For determination of the quality of water, we collect the groundwater samples, and for the measurements of the quality of the water, we should analyze this groundwater samples for their chemical parameter, for their physical parameter, for their biological parameter and for their radiological parameters. And here the constituents which are determined under the chemical analysis, inorganic constituents, other parameters which are reported here, pH, EH, TDS, EC and total hardness HT is reported, and on the basis of hardness and total dissolved solids there are classification of the water is done. And for the representation of the diagram, we have seen the bar, how the bar diagram is plotted, how the circular diagram is plotted, how the vector diagram is plotted. So, thank you very much.